Travis, as usual, and I know that you weren't here for one of the matches, but prepared for a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Important I mean, if you're going to be in Portland in September, it is important to be prepared for snow.
That's correct.
And then Matt Juszczak is there on the right-hand side. Again, he's going to be our Infect player.
I mean, I think that, you know, Infect is a pretty heavy favorite here. It doesn't mean that Travis can't win.
Yeah.
But just everything that Travis's deck is trying to accomplish between, like, ramping into a Primeval Titan or his Sword of Feasts and Famines, or, you know, his singular Wolfer Silverheart or his singular Thragtusk, just nothing that he's trying to do interacts very well with what Infect it tries to do to win the game. Like, even something that's so impactful as, like, casting Primeval Titan to get 2 Glimmer Posts, Infect is, I don't care.
Right. Travis is pretty soft, at least game 1, in terms of answering Inkbot deckers. Now, I do believe that he has some copies of Ghost Quarter in his sideboard, which help out a little bit with that situation.
That is correct. There are 2 Ghost Quarters in his sideboard. There is also a Crushing Vines. There are 2 Beast Withins as well. So, I mean, he does have some ways to fight against the deck. But again, as you said at the top, Apostle's Blessing is like the natural trump to just like a lot of those things.
And Juszczak also has 4 copies of Gutshot and 3 copies of Mental Misstep in his main deck, so he has a lot of ways to disrupt Travis's early mana acceleration. So all the stuff on paper points to this matchup being very rough for Travis, but he is a master, and so that has to count for something.
And I mean, the hat can take him home probably 1 game.
Yeah, he can hope that a snowstorm falls on the play area, for which he will be better prepared than his opponent.
That's
so he does have that as an out as well.
Every edge counts. You see the players are going to look at their opening 7s here, see what they can find.
Also remember to stay tuned in because we are going to have a giveaway for 3 months of premium. Sweet little trivia quiz too. So,
do you have a question brewing, or should I?
I'll pass that over to you. You're a little bit better with this than I am.
I wholeheartedly disagree, but now that the burden is on me, I will think of a question.
Yeah. That can also be interpreted as, like, I don't particularly want to do it.
Yes, so, that is what I've been
Since you asked and sort of tacitly volunteered for the assignment, I'm going to now place that burden upon you.
I was actually asking you, hoping that you would take the reins.
But now here we
show
are.
Some leadership.
Tomorrow, I'll hit you back tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll come up with a 1 or 2 tomorrow.
As Travis looks like, I believe Travis is the higher placing player in the top 8 as well, so he's going to have the option to play first.
I thought he finished in the bottom half of the
Is he in the bottom 4?
I think so. I believe he was. I think he was X11, so I think that puts him in the bottom half. But I guess we'll find out in a second, one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, whoever plays the land first, of course. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Turn 1 Nexus. Also, don't worry about that clock on the top there. These rounds are actually untimed. So.
Yeah. And truthfully, this isn't a matchup that should take a long amount of time anyway.
No, someone's got to go. So,
surveying his options. It looks like he moves a Gutshot to the front to take care of the land.
Yep. Falling to 18. Oh, Phyrexian mana, I will not miss you when you're gone.
I think everyone's going to take a nice long sigh of relief once
Gutshot's
out of the format. And we're going to find, looks like a green sun's in for 1.
Yep. Some random, basically interchangeable accelerant. Not sure what we're thinking about here in response. Gutshot the dome, perhaps.
Upstairs. See a Bird of Paradise. Bird of Paradise, the best of the things that you can search for. Not only can it tap for green or white mana, but it can also block the Inkbot's next turn if necessary.
A valuable chump blocker.
These concealments have distinction.
Travis shuffling while Juszczak contemplates his play. He forgot his winter gloves.
It's unfortunate. He's probably cold.
It's probably freezing.
Yeah. So we see a Cathedral of War from Juszczak. Now he just has to decide if he wants to attack with both his guys or just 1, or perhaps just the Inkmoth Nexus, but it is just going to be the Ichor Claw here. And for 2 poisons, so 8 to go for Juszczak. And we're going to see a Blight Mamba. So he's got no shortage of poison creatures. The question is, how much pump does he have in his hand?
Yep.
We see a Palladium Mirror
and an Atlanta War Elf. Okay. So he is his guard is down, it is possible he could generate a kill off of his Nexus this turn. Cathedral War was a very hyped card upon release, but it's clearly pretty awkward to actually try to fit in the decks because you need to have something that's like a beatdown deck that doesn't want to talk with that many guys and isn't that color sensitive, so can afford to play that kind of land. And the Infect deck just sort of randomly checks off all the boxes. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it just fits all the criteria for the card, and it's just at its best by a mile in this deck.
Yeah. Beyond the fact that Exalted is clearly much better in Infect than in a non-Infect deck.
We're still looking for the following players.
The Infect deck cares very little about the awkwardness of the card. All right, so we're just sending the Agricultural. I have to assume we're chump blocking.
I would.
Jordan Jensen.
I mean, there's not a huge combination of cards here that can really kill him. To be honest, if he had 4 mana in play, like a double Titanic Growth is something that's like more realistic, I guess. But because this is an attack for 2, Titanic Growth would make it for 6, and then Mutagenic would make it for 8, which would be lethal. But you know, there isn't like this huge combination of cards that would do it. It's like just those 2.
Sure.
So I'm like okay taking this hit and then starting to chump next turn. There's the 4th land. This looks like it's going to be Wild Defiance.
Maybe a Viridian Corruptor?
Oh, Viridian Corruptor.
Bang!
A good one-up to have there, actually.
Yep.
Seems like that's probably going to be pretty relevant.
Oh, Palladium Mirror.
He helped Travis so much in one match that we covered, and now him being an artifact comes back to bite him. This looks like it might be prime time. Yeah. Oh,
No, Zenith for
5.
Silverheart or Thragtusk or something.
It's either going to be Silverheart or Thragtusk, and it is going to be Wolf or Silverheart pairing.
So we're going to lock up the bird. So hopefully if he gets to next turn, then he actually has a defensive position against the Nexus.
Yes.
But there is feels like a reasonable chance we do not get to next turn.
That's correct. That's always, you know, it's always an uneasy feeling playing against Infect, you know, am I going to get to the next turn? But that you have that feeling like every turn, like after turn 3, you're just like, well, if I just make it to the next one, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Like I said, it definitely feels that watching it play and watching the person play against it, it feels a lot like Hatred.
Yeah. Just really hoping
the card, not the emotional experience.
Sure. Clarification is key.
Just to be clear.
Very key there. We're going to see Ink
So do we have a
active. Everybody in the club. So we're presumably just blocking the biggest guy.
And then just dying to some pump spell, probably, would be my guess. Oh!
Is this going to just be 3?
Only a 3-ball.
Surprising.
I wonder what's in. I wonder what's in Juszczak's hands. It seems like
he's just drawn a lot of guys and a little more land than he would like.
Another Nexus. Okay. You can see by the body language, it seems like Travis also kind of can't believe he's still alive.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, even though Travis is still alive, you know, he can just still get over, like, he's adding a 5th poison guy to the board, so he can conceivably just still get, like, overrun just by, like, these poison guys.
Yeah.
So he's by no means out of the woods yet.
Yeah, this is the honest poison win, if such a thing exists.
Yes, just no pump spells.
Just literally
just a bunch of doofuses getting in.
Yep. And then, just the all creature draw.
Let's see what Travis can find. I mean, Travis's deck is all full of guys too, so
yeah,
he's all guys, Zeniths, and Sword of Feast and Famine. So, you know, you have to hope basically that Juszczak doesn't draw, you know, like a pump spell like next turn.
Yeah. Well, even still, like, you have your 4/5 bird. You actually have, like, I mean, Juszczak can still just ship like Blight Mamba or whatever and try to whittle things down, but if he just has more dudes and Juszczak doesn't have any pump spells, he actually can sort of hold the ground for a little bit at least.
So we see a 5th force coming to play for Travis. And we're going to find a Thragtusk coming to play, gaining him 5 highly irrelevant life.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have Apostle's Blessing, which is a kill at any time here. And obviously, he has numerous good draws, but
yeah, ton of outs. you know, for Travis, he's in the situation where, like, you know, he's kind of coming up the ground a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the longer this game goes on, the worse it is for him. So, you know, he's in the spot where, you know, he wants to turn the tide so that he can start attacking, but there really isn't a good way for him to do that. Like, you know, Bird of Paradise can't attack. So it's 2 ink month next side. Wolffish Silverheart can't attack because, like, Blight Mamba plus Regenerate is going to whittle it down plus get no damage through.
Yeah, they're both sort of in this weird holding pattern right now where it's not that problem. I mean, right now, Juszczak could just ship everything and get 2 poison counters on it onto Wu and then lose a lot of his board. So yeah, we're just going to do this instead.
And this is going to be attack for 2 because of Exalted.
Are we not regenerating here? Or?
If he did not regenerate, yeah, that Blight Mine was dead. Yeah. So a bit of a misstep there for Matt Juszczak.
Yeah. And I believe that Wu just actually ripped a green Zenith, so we can start turning it on soon.
Now that could be very costly for Juszczak because now Wu can start attacking and, like, you know, before he couldn't attack on the ground with, like, any of his big idiots. Now he can actually attack with, like, the Silverheart. That's a 6/6 and, like, that's a relevant clock.
3 turns.
Especially because that Zenith, like, looking at things, there's a realistic chance that, you know, that Zenith is going to go get a Bird of Paradise so that he is covered in the air against both Nexi.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that's 100% what he's going to do, but by getting another Bird of Paradise, I had a feeling he was going to send in with a 6/6 Silverheart this turn. Another additional Bird of Paradise in it to go with the one that's soul bonded with the Silverheart. He can chump one, kill the other one, and then he has 2 blockers on the ground. So.
All right,
okay,
so
he's going to just get Primeval Titan.
Yeah. I mean, this is like threatens lethal next turn, basically, right? Because he can go get green-white duel plus...
plus Township.
Yeah. I mean, if this is not lethal, it's not far off.
Juszczak did just go down to 12. He does have a mystery card in his hand, but I mean, I think we can only assume that it's a land.
Maybe a misstep, something like that.
Yeah, sure. I think most of the cards that he could possibly draw that turn are, like, pretty live, right?
Yeah. I mean, we still have Blessing as a kill here. We can go. Oh, did we block with our Corruptor?
Well, Corruptor's been gone for a long time.
Oh.
And we attack with everything, which leads me to believe that he probably drew a pump spell.
Or not. I mean, it's you know. I think this attack still makes sense even if he didn't draw a pump spell.
There is one Inkmoth Nexus off the screen that you guys can't see as well.
He does have a lot of pump spells to draw, so.
Thraktos is going to block there. And
it looks like a mutagenic growth on the Nexus.
Or a Ranger's Guile.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. As he's shaking his head, probably because of the mistake
Blight
with the Blight
Mamba.
Yeah. But Matt Juszczak is up a game. And I believe we're going to cut to us for the question I'm going to pull out of thin air. All this pressure, you're staring at me, and I didn't really think of a great question. All right. This question's so lame. Okay, so I'm just embarrassed that I couldn't do better than this, and I was thinking about it, like, for a legitimate 5 minutes. But in the top 8 of this particular tournament, there is a number of Infect decks.
That's a real question.
This is a real question?
Yeah,
okay.
That's totally fine.
And if you know the number of Infect decks in the top 8, tweet it to SCGLive. SCG Premium, excuse me. SCG Premium, thank you, Director. Tweet the number of Infect decks to SCG Premium, and you will win 3 months of Premium. We will draw a winner at random who gets the answer correct. So, again, the question, how many Infect decks made the top 8 at this particular SCG Open in Portland?
3 months of Premium?
3 months of Premium.
And we will have the answer for you once we are done with this match.
I'm sorry the question is lame. This is my sincerest apology.
Question's not lame.
I'm definitely better than that question.
Well, we are who we are, right?
That's true. As Kesha would say,
yeah,
we are who we are.
As a great American poet, Kesha once said,
yes,
we are who we are. So going to the boards here, what do we have? We have 2 copies in our Infact deck. We have 2 copies of Malaria, basically there as both a mirror match trump and to answer opposing Malirias.
Correct.
We have 3 copies of Dismember. Now, Dismember isn't explicitly good in this matchup, but I do think that, like, basically, Juszczak is under so much pressure to contain Wu's mana development that he may want Dismember here just as he's fine paying for to get a mana off the table.
And also, I mean, it's an answer if you don't draw a Zenith, it's an answer to Malaria as well.
Yes.
And I think the way that the metagame has developed that, it's pretty obvious that, like, any green deck that has access to Zenith or Birthing Pod or green mana is, like, going to board in Malaria.
Yeah.
So
he also has 2 copies of Viridian Corruptor, and remember, once you hit the elimination rounds, the deck lists are public. They get to review each other's deck lists. So, given that there's 2 Viridian Corruptors, do you think that Wu tries to bail out on all of his artifacts? He has Palladium Mirror plus Green-Black Sword, both cards that are fine in the abstract, but if you're worried about getting Octabi Orangutan over and over again, it's possible that, like, do you think those artifacts just get sided out entirely, or do you keep some in?
Well, I think if Travis has enough cards to board out, then I think he would do that. Now, I know that as I said, I spoke to him at some points during this tournament. Like, he likes Palladium Mirror in this matchup just because the kind of confusion it has with Apostle's Blessing. And the confusion isn't the best word, but the Apostle's Blessing, obviously, green guy and an artifact side by side gives you the opportunity to block.
Yep. So
I think that he wants Palladium Mirror in his deck. I also don't think that he can afford to board out a card that ramps as well as Palladium Mirror does, like, just for what he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
To the point where he has to leave that card in. And lastly, I don't think that he has enough cards to board out all of his artifacts, all 7 of them, to board in 7 cards from the sideboard. Looking at his sideboard, we're going to find 2 Ghost Quarters, and you're going to want to just board out lands for those Ghost Quarters.
Yeah, just take out the Glimmer Post.
Yeah, just take out the Glimmer Post for those 2 Ghost Quarters is an easy switch. You're going to find a Crushing Vine, so that's 1. You're going to find 2 Beast Withins, so that's going to bring you up to 3. You're going to find a Malaria, that's going to bring you up to 4. So, I mean, that's going to be an easy cut for the 3 swords and potentially 1 Palladium Mirror. And he may not want to leave that Thragtusk in because it's just a 5/3 that gains life and it's not actually ideal.
He's kind of sucky, yeah.
Yeah. So, he could bring in additional Wolf or Silverhearts. He has 3 of those on the board just to present a nice clock. And then, sort of War and Peace could present a nice clock as well, but according to Glenn Jones...
Not just a pretty face, also a valuable research assistant.
That's correct, but don't deny the pretty face. That's a
I
big
said,
selling point.
I said not just. I preface this with not just.
Okay, I'm glad, but I just don't think you're driving home how pretty his face is.
Okay, anyhow.
The beard especially. Travis sides out his Primeval Titans in this matchup.
Okay.
So, I mean, it sounds as though he has definitely crafted a plan.
Yeah.
Of, like, what he wants to accomplish. And again, we both know, and he knows, like, this matchup is not ideal for him.
Yeah.
So, by signing up Primeval Titan, he is taking a drastic measure to try to win. So what I feel is something is going to do, because even his Primeval Titans, like, him searching up something, like, what he's searching up is, like, highly irrelevant. So at the end of the day, Primeval Titan is a 6-mana 6/6, and Wolf or Silverheart is a 5-mana 12/12. Yeah. So he's just going to want Wolf or Silverhearts at the top end of his curve.
So do you think he brings in Beast Within because the token's like I could see a plan in this matchup where he just goes into just like pure Silverheart. Does he have this one? I can see him going into like Silverhearts and Behemoth and 2 Beast Withins and just trying to hold the fort with his mana creatures and his removal long enough to just go Behemoth kill you in one shot, or Township like kill you over time that way. Seems like probably a more reasonable plan than casting Primeval Titan and then just like not getting untapped because you die because you cast a Primeval Titan.
Well, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I just don't think that going that high up the curve, like with Behemoth, because it does cost 8 mana, yep. I'm fairly sure. It's either 8 or 9 mana. Like, I don't think that's a realistic approach. Like, I think it's just going to be like, just Silverhearts bash you, Silverhearts bash you. Is what he's going to be able to do.
But how does he break through just defensive Blight Mamba? Like, on this plan?
Hope he doesn't regenerate again?
Well, let's assume that that is a lesson we only need to learn once.
That it's going to be tough.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my fear. Is just like the Silverhearts, pretty. I mean, now he does only have the 1 Blight Mamba plus the Zenith to go get it, so it's possible he doesn't even find it.
Sure.
But I would be concerned about just like, all right, well, we're just in this holding pattern.
Well, I mean, he could leave Sword of Feast and Famine in.
Sure. Yeah. Then that
can break through.
Right. That makes sense.
As we see, Travis is mulliganing to 6 here. Matt Juszczak has opted to keep his opening 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any way you look at it, it's just going to be difficult to win. I mean, even as we're sitting here trying to craft a game plan to be able to defeat the Infect deck, it's just not easy for what Travis deck is trying to do.
He has so many mediocre cards.
Yeah.
I mean, is a big part of the problem. Like, a lot of his acceleration doesn't matter. A lot of his, clearly a lot of his plan to defend himself against creature decks is with, like, life gain through Glimmer Post and Thragtusk. That clearly doesn't work here.
You see, it looks like Wu is happy enough with his 6.
It's also just rough because, like, it's hard to keep some of these hands that, like, lean on the mana accelerators because there's so many gut shots and missteps.
Yeah.
Like, your acceleration can get broken up pretty easily, too. Yeah, up and down, the matchup just seems pretty rough. Keeping 6, and we're going to start with an Arbor Elf. No play?
No turn 1 play, and we see an Elvish Archer, so I mean, he's out of the gates pretty quick, but ooh. Gut shot afterward.
I probably would have, I don't know, I wouldn't have saved it for a rainy day.
Yeah, I don't really see the rationale behind holding that gut shot to let him get the opportunity to cast Elvish Archer. Just kill the guy.
Yeah. You're not going to find something better than a 1 mana accelerant.
Yeah.
And now this is pretty rough because now, Wu has enough mana to function. It's not even clear that he even has a 3rd land to play. So if he had just shot down that Arbor Elf, then...
Yeah, like that Archer just wouldn't even be in play.
Yeah. Wu's 3rd turn might actually just be, say, go.
Yeah, and especially when Travis mulliganed. Like, it's even, like, more incentive to just be like, all right, gun it. Like, you need every card to be able to beat me.
So...
let's see what Travis is going to do here. He's definitely thinking it through.
Yeah. I'm not sure what line he could be contemplating here. I mean, what could he even have in his hand that would be a source of confusion? Or, like, a source of...
I mean, deciding if he wants to Crushing Vines now versus trying to get a Rancor out of him is, like, one thing that could be running through his mind. We see a Llanowar Elf. We see an Arbor Elf with a green mana floating and him passing back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he does have access to 7 mana next turn if he does get the opportunity to untap.
Yeah, I think Juszczak's a little frustrated with himself for not having gut-shotted the Arbor Elf right away. Because, again, we did not have a 3rd land, so...
We're going to find looks to be a Rancor here. Yeah.
Yep.
And see, the thing is I think one of the things that Travis was contemplating, and if he does have a Crushing Vines in his hand, is, if he casts a Rancor on that guy and he Crushing Vines is in response, as we see a Titanic Growth here.
So that's a 7 ball?
That is an attack for 7. If he Crushing Vines in response, and let's say that Juszczak has Apostle's Blessing to name green, from the Rancor falls off as well, and is gone for good. So I think that if Travis does have a Crushing Vines in his hand or a Beast within, that's something that he was considering.
Sure. Yeah, it still feels like you had to just, like, kind of, you're so jammed on action that you kind of just had to deploy your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, that turn was reasonably speaking as bad as it could be, besides, like, some, like, weird mutagenic growth shenanigans on top of that. So now we have all of our mana, we can start, kind of playing our game here.
Yeah. The question, of course, is if Travis has an answer to...
Right, I mean, he's still... Yeah.
Like, he does have ways to interact. They're not great, and they're not great, and they're not plentiful, but he does have ways to interact with this.
Yeah. He is definitely under some pressure here. I mean, the Ichor Claw Mirror is lethal, so...
Yeah.
We aren't out of the woods yet by any stretch. Trying to see if we can go beatdowns with anything. Because it also behooves him to try to end the game quickly if he can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, given the option, he would love to. Moving those cards around.
Yep.
Who knew there was such complexity between Mana Elves and, like, your all-green deck?
Yeah.
But
All right, so that looks like an attack for 2, if I'm not mistaken. Nope. All right, we're zenithing. Assume we're getting malaria here. Would be my assumption.
yeah, I think that's what it's got to be.
Yep, there it is.
Malaria is it is a human, it's not an elf. So, and that is a crushing vines.
Right.
Or it may be a beast within. Either way, it's a 3-mana removal spell.
Yeah.
I think that it is crushing vines.
And he wants to do that straight away to play around Apostle's Blessing.
Yeah. And so now on Juszczak's end, and this is something that if you've played Infect at all, that you've kind of grown accustomed to. When you're playing against an opposing green deck, you know that you're going to have to beat a Malaria at some point.
Yeah.
Between Zenith or Birthing Pod or what have you. They can pretty reliably find one. So, you know, a Dismember, a Zenith, something to be able to take care of that thing.
Yeah, it looks like it was a Beast Within. Because we just reached for a 6-sided eye instead of 3.
Okay.
There we go.
And Beast Within, of course, the drawback from Beast Within is not terribly relevant for Travis. So,
although I don't know, we got a Cathedral of War, I think, and maybe a Rancor. We can go to Plan B.
Anything can happen.
We can go to Plan B.
Anything can happen.
Start just beating the hell out of them with a 3/3. That's fine.
It's just gonna beatdowns.
4 ball.
Yep. Count that Exalted trigger. Don't you dare forget it. Now we have another Column.
Yep.
And we know that, okay, and there is the Rancor. And so I'm not sure how many cards Juszczak has left, but it doesn't look like he has an immediate answer to Malaria. But then again, he also doesn't have a reason to kill it right away.
Yeah, I mean, you basically want to save it for the turn you're actually going to go to actually try to win the game, because you don't want like a second copy of Malaria coming up or something mucking up the waters.
It's not for Travis's side. I mean, he's built himself up a soft lock, if you will, and now he needs to find a way to get this game over with. Ideally, the best card to do that is a Wolfer Silverheart, as we're going to see Travis add a healthy amount of mana to his mana pool, and Primeval Titan. Okay.
So Glenn just lied to us.
The faultiest of reporting, making us look very stupid on camera. We appreciate that, Glenn, very much.
Yeah.
As Primeval Titan that he boarded out is in play.
Standard operating procedure,
Yep.
just, you know.
Event coverage coordinator.
It is both in play and is also likely to kill Juszczak.
Yeah.
You know?
It does search for a Gabney Township and the Razor Verge Thicket. And of course, that interaction is going to... I mean, his elves are 2/2s.
Yeah.
And it's not very realistic to hope that, you know, maybe I can get my Malaria to a 6/6. I think the game is going to be long gone by then.
Right.
So Dismember is always going to be on. But he does have the clock now to be able to get this game over.
Yeah, by the time Malaria is a 6/6, Juszczak died 2 turns previous.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right, there's a Nexus.
Inkmoth Nexus, which is handled quite easily by the Ghost Quarter that's in play. So that's not a very large deal.
Pass the turn, and that is... Very few people simply pass the turn against Primeval Titan and then go on to win.
That's definitely
It does not
accurate.
happen frequently.
Yes. So we're getting the closing time for Travis.
Yeah. And all of this was potentially, you know, ushered in by just blanking momentarily and electing not to kill that Arbor Elf. Because this Elvish Archdruid is just... this is the engine that's allowed him to do everything here, you know what I mean?
Correct. So we see another elf come into play, powering up the Archdruid even a little bit more. And Travis is going to get in here with at least Primeval Titan, potentially more attackers, but...
I mean, whatever he doesn't need to pump the Township, although I guess this is like a conservative play. And the next turn, he can just, like, use Township and be so far over lethal that he doesn't need to, like, get in for any incremental points this turn. Like, just sending Primeval Titan puts in a position where next turn is, like, for sure lethal.
Yes.
So no reason to ship anything else. Especially with, like, the Beast still on defense. And so, I don't know if we have... I would assume we want to get a backup Ghost Quarter. Nope. Never mind. Just another Thicket plus another Township, which I guess sets up activations next turn.
Yeah. And also there's another thing that you may want to kind of keep in mind. And this doesn't, this isn't a huge factor, but potentially he doesn't want to show Juszczak that he has 2 ghost quarters.
No, he has. They have.
Oh,
deck
they have a
list.
deck list.
Yeah,
Deck list. Yeah,
that's
never
all
mind.
public.
Yeah, that's completely irrelevant then. Never mind.
Okay, so we're going to town.
Well, at least one out that it does shut off for Travis is shutting off the out of double gut shot on malaria.
Yeah.
That's no longer something that can occur.
Although I suspect that if that was a possibility, the Archdruid would have died some number of turns ago.
That's also true. And we have a concession here from Juszczak.
So Travis Wu with his no Primeval Titan plan post board, able to cobble together a victory.
Yeah, no Primeval Titan somehow gets it done.
Very impressive.
I'm not sure what killed Juszczak, but a large animal. That's
I just saw
lands.
I just saw a lot of elves.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kind of lost to 1/1s. No, we can only do with what we're given. You know what I mean? It's not.
That's true. I don't think it's not on us at all.
Yeah, it's not really. All right. So, any way that you would want to sideboard differently, given like there's a play draw swap for game 3.
The way that Juszczak conceded that game, like he wasn't dead that turn. No, I'm not 100% sure if he, he took the damage, untapped, drew, conceded. But I don't believe that's what happened. But the way that he like conceded the game with the Primeval Titan attack leads me to believe that like maybe he sideboarded incorrectly. Like he's like, I don't have like an out to like this malaria or something, even though he has a deck list. It was just kind of funny that like I don't think that he drew his cards for the turn to see like if I can kill that and then kill you. Yeah. Basically. That being said, I think that like if I'm on Travis's side,
like Malira plus Blessing would have won. Does that even win that game?
Like killing Malira plus Blessing?
Because the Blessing makes the Ranker fall off.
Yes.
So I actually don't even think there's even in that scenario he has a set of outs.
Sure. Especially because like he has all those 3 toughness guys back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. Maybe he's just dead no matter what his draw step is. That being said, I don't think there's anything that Travis is really going to change. I predicted that he would board out Primeval Titans based off of some faulty coverage. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So I still think that he's going to be on the Wolfer Silverheart plan. I still think there's going to be additional Ghost Quarters. We saw a Beast Within cast that game, so you know that he brought those in, and he also has the Crushing Vines and obviously the Malaria. So presumably Thragtusk is still out of his deck. Sword of Feast and Famine is likely out of his deck. Excuse me. I'm not sure what else he would have cut to fit those cards in. Maybe he trimmed on lands. It seems rather unlikely, even though he only did draw a few lands that game. So I don't think he changes anything. I think it's pretty obvious what Travis wants.
So why do you think that Juszczak has Naturalized in the sideboard instead of, like, he's not capped out on Corruptors and he has copies of Naturalized? Like, what enchantment is he trying to fight?
Thinking briefly.
I mean, Curse of Death holds good against him, I would guess, but that's not a huge metagame player.
Yeah, that's not a huge piece of the metagame. Curse of Death hold is like game over for the deck, but it's not a huge metagame player. I mean, the only other enchantments coming to the top of my head is Oblivion Ring, and like...
Who even... Yeah, it doesn't...
Yeah, like, that's not like a major player in the format. I don't even know if you want to waste a card on, like, killing that card.
Yeah.
So I'm not really entirely sure why he would opt. But Curse of Death Hold, I think, is the most obvious one. And I really can't think of a reason, so... I don't think anything else is really going to change from Juszczak. Like, obviously, Travis doesn't have any enchantments that are worth killing. We think that Sword of Feast and Famine is likely out of his deck, so.
Although, as you know, we've been wrong before.
And we will be wrong again.
Yeah.
As it looks like Travis can't tell. Juszczak is scanning through his hand.
All right. Both
Juszczak
keeping, it looks like?
Both are keeping. Cathedral of War to start. We've got a mana dork for Travis. Arbor Elf it is. We're gonna gut shot. Yeah, we're gonna gut shot that right away.
Some lessons, like we said, some lessons only need to be learned once.
That is correct. We're gonna have a Ichor Claw Mirror here. Travis gonna draw a card. He's gonna need at least one mana guy, maybe 2. There's 2. Okay, so he's gonna be able to keep up a little bit. Let's see what Juszczak can come back with. His attack is going to be at least for 2, potentially more.
Ooh, another cathedral, very important. All these incremental points mean so much when you're playing Infect.
Yep.
I mean, is he lethal?
3. Titanic is 7. Mutagenic is 9. Second mutagenic is dead. Mutagenic, okay.
So this is 5?
That's just 5, so this
Okay.
is not a lethal attack. But 5 makes 5. I mean, him being at 5 now makes Titanic lethal next turn.
But why wouldn't you just Titanic this turn?
I mean, if he has Titanic Growth, I think he would have preferred to Titanic Growth this turn instead of last turn. So, I mean, with that play, it makes me believe that he doesn't have Titanic Growth in his hand.
So now the big thing is, like, does Travis actually have a kill spell in his hand? Because he obviously can't just like keep chump blocking this thing all day long. Like, he needs to find a permanent answer.
Yeah. Chump blocking it is basically stone raining himself each turn that he does it. As we see a bevy of 1-drops.
More knuckleheads.
Malaria.
Oh, not bad.
It's not bad at all. I mean, he's basically all in.
Yep.
He's got 1 card left in his hand. I mean, if he does draw one of those Primeval Titans that he sided out, he'll be able to cast it. So.
Well, yeah, he also can start actually turning the game on pretty fast here, right? Like, just starts townshipping. Doesn't take him that long to get to lethal.
Not at all.
Whoa.
I mean, he's going to attack.
Sure.
There's no reason for him not to attack.
Well, I guess if he has...
I mean, it's a 3/3, and it just makes you...
Pause for a second, right?
Yeah, it makes Travis think about everything.
Because the threat of Dismember is there?
Yeah. So Travis is going to throw away one of his guys. And again, he is sitting at 5. He is sitting at 5 infect. So I mean, if it's like Dismember plus Pump Spell, he's just dead.
Yeah.
Juszczak passes the turn back. 4, 8, 12. That's Travis's 13 plus 8. So 21 lands in Juszczak's deck. A little bit flooded, I would say. I wouldn't say a lot flooded, but
there was a we just drew
6 mana
Zenith for 5, which can get our Malira up to out of Dismember range.
Leaving him with just as out of
his own Malira. Yeah.
His own Malaria and Green Sun Zenith.
He also just like gets to start hitting too, which is important.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
partner here.
I mean, next turn is lethal. You know.
Yep. And this is going to be an attack for 6, so this is going to put Juszczak down at 10. Yeah, Silverheart provides just one heck of a clock, and Juszczak hasn't really done anything, and so now as he draws an Apostle's Blessing.
Yep.
Alright, and we see a Gut Shot in his hand as well. Can't really make out the rest of the cards in his hand. We've got 2 of the 4. I mean, if Juszczak attacks this turn, like, are you blocking with Silverheart?
I don't know. That is tough.
I asked the tough questions.
No. I don't buy it.
I guess
I guess
there's like nothing that can really stop him, right? Like, it would have to be double Dismember plus Pump Spell. That doesn't seem realistic.
I think Juszczak just drew Apostle's Blessing, which means the Gut Shot in his hand was there last turn, right?
Yes. I mean, he can conceivably be holding that because when Wu played Malaria, drawing an additional Gut Shot as an out to be able to kill Malaria. So I'm okay with him holding that. But once we knew about the township, I think maybe you have to blow it on one of the elves then.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the odds that was going to happen seem so low, right?
Yeah.
Like, he either has Silverheart or Zenith to find it, or he's just going to be using township. Like, there's not, you know. I mean, maybe if his hand is exactly Primeval Titan, that play makes sense.
Sure. So now Travis is moving his creatures back and forth, deciding exactly how he wants to attack. The Llanowar Elf is kind of hanging back a little bit because it's going to be part of the Gavany Township activation. At this point, he just needs to decide, am I going to attack with Malaria? Am I going to attack with Silverheart? Hang back with some of these elves to play a little conservative.
Yeah.
He definitely does have a lot of options. I think that for myself, if I'm in his situation, I kind of play Malaria like an enchantment. Like last turn, of course, it was perfectly fine to attack because Ichor Claw Mirror
Yeah, coast is clear.
was tapped. The coast was clear. Now it's like a little bit scarier. It can be made into a 7/7, and yeah, he's checking to see if okay. So if he blocks here, Silverheart gets in for 8. That's 9 and 10, and then the counters are going to make it 13. So I think an attack with everything is relatively safe here.
Yeah.
And then leaving the Llanowar Elf back, so he's going to gut shot that. I mean, that puts him at 10. No activation.
So I feel like I would have wanted to township there in response.
I do too, because the gut shot's going to put him down to 10. So it's actually like you just dealt him 2 points of damage.
It's possible that doesn't influence the clock at all, and we were just concerned about winning the game this turn, but it.
Attack. I mean, in a situation like this, obviously when you're playing against Poison, you're thinking of all the things that can happen. I feel like he may have overthought himself a little bit that turn. Or that particular sequence. But we'll see what happens. So we know Apostle's Blessing is there. We don't know the other two very well.
Oh, just a concession. Okay.
Travis Wu back against the wall? Bad
Very-
matchup?
Yep. Very impressive.
About as bad as it gets for his deck.
Yeah, it seems pretty rough.
Yeah. And
Fun.
able to take it down with Green Summer. The contingent moves on to the top 4. It's